Yeah, okay. But when he comes out and says that he feels that the media just doesn't like him, you can't help but think that somewhere inside of him, he really wanted this year's MVP and maybe wanted to emotionally blackmail the media into finally voting his MVP. I guess he was successful in doing that.
Cause didn't he get like second or something 2 years in a row?
But if we look at it side by side, the evidence is clear, and there could have only been one winner. It should have been Nikola Jokic. He outdid Embiid in rebounds, assists, field goal percentage, finished with 29 triple-doubles on the season to Embiid's 1, and played in more games, finished number
29 triple-doubles on the season is ridiculous. Y'all see the title, man. Let's get to it.
It's something that's been bothering me. Joel deserved the MVP, and Joker and Giannis, they were 1, 2, 3, whoever you voted. There's one person, I don't even know this fool's name, didn't even have Joker in the top 5.
Guess who the damn idiot is? It's Mark Jackson, the same Mark Jackson that sat courtside through 6 NBA Finals, watching firsthand and up close the greatness of Nikola Jokic.
Just gets it off in time. It's up. Oh,
Mark Jackson fan hating on Jokic. Wait, what team did Mark Jackson? That name sounds familiar.
One time Charles Barkley has been 100% correct with his take.
What does he do?
You just heard it. How in the world do you leave Nikola Jokic off your ballot for the 2023 NBA MVP after this unreal season he just had?
Them rainbow shots off 1 foot. I ain't gonna lie, there's nothing you really can do with that.
I mean, Jokic was so insanely good this postseason and in the finals that he had Mark publicly apologizing for not recognizing how special he's been all season. Though,
alright, Mark, at least you
I ain't really buying that apology. And for those of you on Team Embiid, yeah, he had a historic season too, and probably would have been the hands-down MVP in any other season. But what Jokic did was just special. And still, I don't think many people truly understand how great Nikola Jokic was.
We didn't really see it cause we wasn't watching. We say that we wasn't watching. We wasn't really watching until the playoffs, gang. So it's really, I understand that some people didn't give the MVP to Jokic. Like a lot of niggas wasn't watching. A lot of people didn't have their eyes on the Denver Nuggets. You know, people was watching the Lakers. You know what I'm saying? They just got the trade done. They was going dummy. We like, nah, the Lakers got it. But Jokic, he got it.
2023.
Inside of Gordon, throws it down, and the foul. Jokic with another perfect pass and a chance for a three-point play.
The thing is, Joel Embiid has had
that was my first game, first time ever watched a full game of Jokic when he played the Lakers.
Special season, and said before entering the postseason that his mind hasn't been on winning the MVP like he's been thinking about playing a fully healthy playoffs. Yeah, okay. But when he comes out and says that he feels that the media just doesn't like him, you can't help but think that somewhere inside of him, he really wanted this year's MVP and maybe wanted to emotionally blackmail the media into finally voting his MVP. I guess he was successful in doing that.
Cause didn't he get like second or something 2 years in a row?
But if we look at it side by side, the evidence is clear, and there could have only been one winner. It should have been Nikola Jokic. He outdid Embiid in rebounds, assists, field goal percentage, finished with 29 triple-doubles on the season to Embiid's 1, and played in more games, finished number
29 triple-doubles on the season is ridiculous.
1 in nearly all the advanced analytics.
How much triple-doubles did Russ have that 1 year? Or those years, because he was wild for a little bit too.
And with all due respect to his teammates, he wasn't playing with 2 bona fide stars the way Embiid had James Harden and Tyrese Maxey on his side. I could even throw in Tobias Harris in there too, being that he's been an all-star caliber guy for many years now. The only guy in Denver that took some of the focus off Jokic was Jamal Murray, and he's big time. But still, he's the only other star on Denver when most championship teams in the last decade have had at least 3 legit stars. And then you couple that with the fact that Jokic's team was higher in the standings and had been atop the standings for virtually the entire season. Like, I really don't know how Embiid was a better candidate than Nikola Jokic for the 2023 MVP. Well, of course, unless you want to say that the voters were just sick of voting for Jokic. Wait.
The league and the voters did not want to give dull and efficient Jokic a 3rd straight MVP. MJ didn't get one, either did LeBron. This was not a vote just for Embiid, it was a vote against Jokic. Jokic was part of a #1 seed. He played more games, more rebounds, better analytically, the triple-double. And the vote was 73-15.
I think that's it. The reason why Jokic didn't win the MVP
That's fake disgusting. I ain't gonna lie.
isn't as complex as you think it is. 2 words. Voter fatigue, a term that's typically used as an explanation for why a player who should have won an award likely didn't win it because the voters were, well, just bored of voting for the same player again. I mean, it happened to MJ a ton, it's happened to LeBron several times, Kobe, Larry Bird. The list goes on.
I sort of do hate that though. Like, I feel like the best player, you know what I'm saying? Well, it is the most valuable player, but usually the best player is the most valuable. You know what I'm saying? And they be giving it to like sometimes the second best player. I feel like, you know, like damn, like I feel bad.
And now
whatever.
I'm afraid it's just happening to Nikola Jokic. And to preface all this better, let me take you back to the 1990s NBA.
11 points, seldom used during the season. Jordan, yes, and a count.
In 1993, Michael Jordan, who in the eyes of many is the greatest to ever play, he was at the peak of his basketball powers. 30 years old and in the heart of his NBA prime. MJ pulled off his first three-peat that year and just won his 3rd straight Finals MVP award, and had he won the MVP that season, it would have been the 3rd year in a row MJ won MVP after averaging an impossibly great 32.6 points per game on 49.5% shooting from the floor, a league-leading 2.8 steals per game, and finishing #1 PER, win shares per 48, offensive win shares, offensive box plus minus, and value over replacement player. He did all of that while leading his Bulls to 57 wins and a 3-peat title. But the MVP was instead handed to a 29-year-old Charles Barkley, who led his Phoenix Suns to 62 wins while averaging 7 fewer points per game, playing 2 fewer games, and even having played with 6 other guys on his roster that averaged double-digit points per game. How about the guy many people are now calling the 1980s version of Nikola Jokic, Larry Bird? Now, Larry Bird was one of the few exceptions.
Get into Charles rebounds though. That's the. You know what I'm saying? I heard Charles Barkley was one of the best rebounding. You know what I'm saying, short bigs, I guess you could say, because isn't he like 6'5" or something like that, 6'6"? Not even that tall, but he was. You know what I'm saying, on the glass mills.
80s version of Nikola Jokic, Larry Bird. Now, Larry Bird was one of the few exceptions, being that he was one of the 2-3 players to win 3 straight MVPs when he did it from 1984 to 1986. But I'd be damned if I didn't show you how he should have won a 4th MVP in a row. In 1987, Larry Bird's traditional stats were better than they were when he won the award the year before. He upped his scoring average from 25 to 28 points and increased his blocks, rebounds, assists, field goal percentage, and free throw percentage, and became the first player in the history of basketball to join the hallowed 50-40-90 club. There have only been 11 guys in the history of the NBA to achieve this rare feat. Larry Legend was the first to do it. Yeah, the first. And did all the above while leading his Celtics to the 2nd best record in the NBA. And you're telling me he didn't deserve his history-defying 4th consecutive MVP? Well, the same voters who voted him MVP in 1986 gave him just 1 first-place vote in 1987. We've seen plenty of players in the modern NBA who've been robbed of more MVPs, starting with, of course, LeBron, Kobe, Steph, Tim Duncan, and so many other players. History told us that Jokic wasn't going to win the MVP this season, even though he was this season's MVP by literally every metric. Scrolling through social media and turning on your TV now, you'll hear a bunch of folks patting Jokic on the back and saying things completely differently than they were just a few months ago. Don't be fooled, guys.
This guy ain't got out of the 2nd round since he started winning MVPs.
I've never seen a disconnect like this where a guy monopolizes the MVP,
yeah,
and yet he floats in and out of my top 5 at like 5.
Yeah.
He's not in almost anyone's top 3. I've never seen anything like it.
There is no doubt that Jokic, the reigning 2-time league MVP, who everybody's gunning for to knock off that pedestal, has answered the call. He's averaging a triple-double, 24, 10, and 11. He's shooting better than 63% from the field. He's shooting better from 3-point range.
By multiple percentage points
over Joel Embiid.
So
statistically, along with a superior record, along with a superior standing within his respective conference, has to be taken into consideration.
And the entire narrative that was being pushed around the racist media was one of the most hilarious conversations about the NBA ever. But you can thank Kendrick Perkins for trying to push that anti-Jokic train. All those guys who are pushing these false Jokic narratives are really quiet now, aren't they? Jokic just finished his historic playoff run, facilitating the most offense any single player has ever generated in a postseason, with an average of nearly 56 combined points and assists per game. I mean, that's even a tick better than LeBron James's legendary 2018 playoff run to the NBA Finals, when he took a cast of role players and some guy who ran out the clock with the game tied. Nikola Jokic is...
Yo, JR was smacked. He was smacked, nigga. JR Smith, bro.
Even killed leadership and selflessness have been without a doubt the most valuable element of the Nuggets postseason success. His constant elite playmaking and ability to dominate from the interior and the perimeter sometimes convinced me that this Nuggets team was even more lethal offensively than the 2017 Warriors. Now, while Embiid on the other hand, I get it. The MVP is a regular season award, but he left voters feeling somewhat embarrassed after a 61-year-old Al Horford got the better of him during the playoffs and held Embiid to just 14 of 37 shooting from the field over the last 2 games. And look, make no mistake about it, Nikola Jokic should have...
And BB inconsistent in the playoffs, man. Very inconsistent. Same with Hardy, like...
become just the 4th player to ever win the MVP for 3 years in a row, but they just didn't want to make him the next man to make history.
That's the end of this one, y'all. They hating on Yoke how they hated on the other greats, man. He's taking them steps, though. He's taking them steps. If the hate is there, if the hate is there, you do us all right, yo. You do us all right, man. But if y'all enjoy, I know what to do. Tell me what you want me to react to next in the comments. I'll link the video. You know what I'm saying? So it's easy. I ain't gonna lie. Turn on post notifications. Click on the last reaction. Like the video, comment, subscribe. I'm out of here, man.